Welcome to Tower Gardening Made Easy, and I'm Sherry. Well, it's been about 2 weeks since we set up this beautiful trellis, and the cucumber tower is going crazy. So be sure to stay tuned because I have something special that we're going to do together. All right, so over the past couple of weeks, since I've set up the trellis and I've let the tower just do its thing and making sure that the pH is on point and that the nutrients on point. And just if you're curious, I've kept the pH at 6.0 and the nutrients right now, I believe, are at 2.2. So this is much more of a mature plant, and you can actually see that there are many cucumbers in different stages. So I want to make sure to support that nutrient. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to be using some simple garden twine, and I'm going to be tying it onto the vines and then stringing it onto the trellis. This will help airflow underneath so that the cucumber does not get powdery mildew, which is something it's prone to if the vines are stacked on top of each other. Okay, so you definitely don't want to have that because it really just wreaks havoc in your garden, your tower garden, and it really just kind of stops the growth of the cucumbers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be turning and I'm going to be just going ahead and starting to string these up. But I'm going to be doing it very carefully because I don't want to break the vines, and I definitely don't want to break any of the cucumbers that are on there. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so just using a very fine kind of almost like a craft twine. And I'm going to be tying a very simple knot onto an end of a vine. Now, I think this was trellised the other day. And what happened is it actually has a little bit of fruit. And that fruit probably got heavy in the middle of the night. It probably popped back down. So I'm going to go ahead and start to secure this. So I'm going to tie it not at the very end because I think that is the most vulnerable. So I'm going to pick maybe like a couple flowers or leaves in so that it can have a little more support. And also too, at the very end, your vine is a little bit thinner. So find a thicker area. Now, be careful not to cut off the nutrient flow. You don't want to tie it too tight, but just, a simple little knot, being very gentle, because once it starts to trellis onto the main black trellis here, you can actually then get rid of some of this twine, unless of course the tentacles are, kind of all over it. Then I would just leave it. It'll be fine. So I'm just going to give this a little double knot, and then we're going to wind it into the trellis. And again, I'm not tying it very tight. I don't want to break the vine. That's the main thing, because I do, as I was just going through this, I said to myself, I think this was already up here. But because it has two, mini cucumbers, I think it decided to kind of come down because of the weight. So now what we're going to do is we're going to secure it. So see how I'm just weaving it through? I want a portion of it, and I'm short. So what I'm going to be doing is finding where I tie the knot. And of course, those little tentacles up there. And then I'm going to weave it without breaking the vine. I'm just gonna kind of weave it down to the next section. And then I'll probably that looks pretty good. This is going to get a little heavy, but I think as this grows, it will support it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and give it a little slip knot here onto the trellis, keeping it snug, and a wrap and a slip. There, that should secure it. So I've got one good sized fruit here and then one right here. But as you can see, by taking the vine in this direction and off of the tower, it's going to allow more airflow. And that is crucial because underneath, if they're stacked on top of each other, you're going to end up with leaves that are yellow because they're not getting airflow and they're also not getting light. They might be getting nutrition and the pH might be balanced, but it's not getting the other aspects of what they need. Now, these guys right here are just a little too short. So we're going to leave them alone for right now. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to pick the sleeve off so you guys can see. This is underneath, and this was probably 3 stacked because that was here. This is 2, and this is 3. This is what's going to happen if they're stacked on top of each other and not getting what they need. So I'm just going to go ahead, pick it off and discard it and just kind of separate them until they're long enough to go ahead. And I might actually even do this one just to kind of get it up. So why don't we? So again, just take a piece of string and I'm going to go in. Oh, and there's a cucumber right there. I'm going to go under probably like midway of the vine and just give it a little knot. I might just, because I'm going to need that to trellis, so make that a little bit shorter. Securing it on the vine, but not too tight. And then I'm going to find where that natural curve is. And I think I'm going to go, actually might slide this up just a little bit. I'm sliding the knot just up the vine just a little bit. And that's another reason why not to make it too tight. So I'm just slipping it right under that next joint, if you will. So right there. So I'm going to kind of slip this up. Give it a little bit of a tug. Without pulling too much, I'm going to give it that natural curve and just let it do what it wants to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and wrap it. And then what we'll do over time is I'm going to encourage the these guys like this. I'm going to try to just wrap it just a little bit to encourage it to continue up to get on this trellis. And another little slip knot. There we go. And then just kind of push that here. I might even just do one more for safety. And then I'll go around at the end and just kind of clip things. But the most important thing is I just want you guys to see that we're giving this dimension, and we're also giving it airflow, and it's going to make it really easy for me to come in here with my my pollinator. So right now what I have to do is I have to lift everything up, grab the flower, go ahead and pollinate. But where we're up here, it'll be very easy for me to find the opposite sex flower and go ahead and do the pollinating. And then over time, you'll start to see that, like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I didn't even see this guy. So they're just hidden. I get in here and I do a big batch of these. And then I move on to other towers and forget. But within 24, 48 hours, bam, there they are. And they grow pretty fast. So that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that one. So let me get rid of the pollinator. And let's find another branch. I think that's too short. So as we go, I might do a little pruning if I see something that got squashed because it wasn't getting the airflow that it needs. But here's a guy. This might be a stretch, but it really would kind of give it, if I come out to maybe like here with a string and then encourage it to coil over. So let's go ahead and do that. Every day I've been like stretching these vines going, are they ready? Are they ready? And I'm going, they're going to die before they're ready. So I had to come up with, what I call a MacGyver move of, how do I get them on this trellis? And I just said, oh, why don't I just tie them? That makes it much easier. So again, I'm going to come. Here's another pollinated cucumber that I haven't seen because it's hidden. So I'm going to go right under this little knuckle. I'm going to give it a little tie here. I'm really also liking this particular cucumber that I put on here. This was this Space Master 80 from Botanical Interest. I'm not an affiliate, but I do really like their seeds. Again, just I'm going to roll this up to that knuckle. And then I'm going to slightly just kind of twist this off the, and then find kind of that natural. I might even just go there. That's kind of like on the hook, which is part of the trellis, and then just tie it there. And always move it when it gets a little bit bigger. Actually, got a little slack there. Give it a little double knot. And we'll go ahead and trim those after. Okay, so we've got a nice flow there. We got a little weight because these big guys are there, so I'm okay with that because I'm probably going to end up trimming off a leaf right there that looks like it just, the cucumbers need some light. So I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that. And then maybe just kind of curl him in there just to make sure that the lights are getting here. Now I've ordered 2 more spider lights because this was someone asked me, how are you going to address the lighting issue? Because the wands only cover, kind of where the tower is, and you can kind of bring them out a little bit more. So with the spider lights, they clip onto anything. So my plan is to run an extension cord from the power strip over there, and then one spider light will go here, and then one spider light will go on the other side, and then I can separate the wands and kind of fold them back a little bit, and that will cover the sides as to where they're trellising on. And those can be found in Tower Gardening, madeeasy.com, in the essentials, nursery essentials. They're not expensive. They come 4 heads, I think in 6 heads, but I think the 4 is just fine. I think the 6 might be overkill. All right, so let's find another vine. So I'm going to go with this guy right here, I think. What do we got down here? This is kind of a big boy. All right, he's on the bottom, so I'm going to work him last. What do we got here? And then this is kind of, it's tangled. So I think he's too little. But this one's not. And I got lots of blooms. So I'm just going to go ahead and just deadhead this a little bit. And see, here's a cucumber because it was under everything that didn't get pollinated. There's so little. So if I stretch him out, I think we might be able to kind of curve him and go maybe here. So let's go ahead and get a piece of string. Just measure a little bit. This one looks a little fragile, so might. That's the other thing too. You want to assess the vine. This vine looks a little fragile. So if I take it, I've got to take it from back here. And that's what I'm going to do. Being kind of midway, it's just a little bit thicker. That front part is it's very sticky too. Just a little bit thinner, and I don't want to break it. So that's the other thing with this. It'll get thicker in time, but right now where it's still, it's a mature plant for sure. But we need these vines just to get a little bit stronger. I'm going to keep that one nice and loose. I'm going to support it. I'm actually going to wrap the twine a little bit into this vine just to kind of give it a little more support. And then I'm going to one-handedly kind of bring this up and see how perfect. So by winding the vine into where that stem was a little bit thin, that gave it just a little more support. And I'm just going to go ahead and just tie it off right here. Good. I like that. And then I'll take these tentacles, and because I normally clip the tentacles, I'm going to go ahead and let it spin around just to give it a little more support. And then I'm going to move that up to that first knuckle. So it has just like that natural curve right there. So we're getting there. So let me see what we got on the bottom here. Okay, I think I'm going to work around the tower so that I'm not crossing over. These guys are too small, even though it's nice and thick. I'm going to work on this back one, which is right here, and it's in the bottom net port. So let me adjust the camera because I'm going to be working down a little bit. Make sure you guys can see me. Yeah. Okay. So here's the one that I want to do, and I want to separate this guy. And I think what I'm going to do with him is I'm going to go ahead, maybe tie it midway. I'm going to do what I just did with this one, and I'm probably going to come up to here. So let me go ahead and cut some string. You kind of want to stretch that vine out, assess what you're doing, and then make a plan, and then execute it. And always give yourself more, twine than you need. So midway, tie the knot. I'm going to hold it out. And I really liked how that helped give it just a little more support. So I'm just going to wind this around. Find that natural that's going to work. I'd actually like to get this a little bit higher just in case I have to get under there with the vacuum. And I'm going to go ahead, just give it a little bit of hang. I actually might go to this one and see how that looks and feels. That actually looks pretty good and it feels pretty good. And then maybe what they can do is kind of slightly grow together for support. So I'll go ahead and tie this. Yeah, I'm really liking how I wrapped it like that. Well, again, we'll come back and I can slide these either way so they can go that way. Have a little more room. And I got a little tentacle there, so I'll just kind of twist him on there. But I can already see some like little cucumbers that I've missed. Not too late to go ahead and pollinate them, but I would have missed them because they were packed on top of each other. Now these guys over here, just want to make sure that they're not jammed up at all. Yeah, those are good. They've got some room. And this guy over here, I'm going to let him go. I'll string him up at a later date. He's nice and thick, though. I could probably bring him across, but I think I'll leave it alone. I think I'm going to leave him alone for right now. He's nice and thick, but I just think that he needs to get just a little bit longer. I think that string is too much. What do we got going on here? So this is in the front. Let's start at the top. These guys, this one is here, and then the next one is right here. I would love to kind of get him up. I think I can do it because the vine looks really thick. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to move you guys up just a little bit. Okay. It's strange how some vines are thinner and some are thicker. All right. So where are we? Let's get this guy. One can stay down and one's going to go up. The amount of flowers that this, tower cucumbers throw off is just, it's amazing. Like the amount of flowers I clean on a daily basis off of the tower, off of the floor. is really substantial. So lots of opportunities to be pollinating. You know, unlike squash, like that's a window. You got one shot and that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and take the string. I'm just going to kind of wind it in there. And then let's see. I think we could probably come out straight on this one. Yeah, I like that. It's right here, but it's going to teach it to kind of come this way. And it doesn't seem to be too much pull. And when I trim these, I probably won't trim them to the very end, just in case I need to adjust them as I go in time. So maybe like I'll leave a tail like this, you know, like that much. So I really like that one. So I think I'll leave this guy back here. He'll still get light from the, look at this is, I cleaned this yesterday. I literally vacuum and clean this every day. And that's just on one side of the tower. Okay, so we're going to leave this guy like here and he'll get plenty of light. So, but now I want to address the front here. These guys are a little bit thinner, but you know what I probably could do is this. I wonder if this would work. Use the same string and just gently, and there's actually some of these little tentacles that I can go ahead and manipulate. Yep, onto the existing string. Oh, they're sticky. Just kind of wind them and they'll find their way. They will, because they do it to the power cord and I can't sometimes get them off. I'm just like, oh my God. There we go. So I'm going to just wind that little guy around. There we go. Nice. So we didn't even have to do a string. Just kind of using that existing one. And I love it. I love it. I'm going to try to just bring some of the leaves this way to kind of balance it as it comes forward and grows in that direction. So what do we got here? This one looks good. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do a string here and that can grow. And then maybe what we'll do is then we'll attach this guy, like kind of like what we just did here, but I'm going to do it a little bit lower. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we got this one, got this one. I think what I'll do is I'll take the shorter one to tie midway. Make sure I've got enough. Yep. So you guys can see me. Boy, I struggled on this one. I was like, how am I going to do this? But you know, where there's a will, there's a way. You just have to figure it out. Sometimes I lay awake at night and go, all right, how do I deal with that? Okay. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and just wind this one a little bit. Trying not to hurt the leaves. But giving it support. Stretch it out. Ooh, just enough. Just enough. I'm going to go this way with it. I cut that one short. And then just another little tie here. There we go. I love it. So now what I'll do is I'll take this longer one. And then because this one wasn't getting airflow, you can actually see some, you know, it's trying to form. It's trying to do that powdery mildew. No way, Jose. It's not going to happen. Not on my watch. Get rid of those. And then, well, if I did that, then it's going to be on top of each other. So maybe what I'll do is I'll give him his own string. And we'll go that way with it. Okay. At the very end, make sure you stay tuned because I'm going to go through each branch and show you all the different cucumbers if you can't see them. Okay, so I'm going to go midway because there are a lot. And this is a different kind of cucumber than I did last. This is that Space 80 versus the one I did last time. I did the Europeans and, no go. No go on that. And then I will say on my podcast this past Wednesday, I mentioned something about that I was unaware that I guess there is cucumbers that are self-pollinating. I had someone chime in and I don't remember her name, but I appreciated the comment and said, I'm going to do a little research. I haven't had a moment, but I will. To my knowledge, this is the third kind of cucumber that I have grown that some of them I guess will self pollinate because there's so many flowers, and if you put a fan on it, it will it will pollinate. But there's no guarantee. It's nothing like getting in there with a toothbrush. So I appreciate that comment and the correction. And if I'm wrong, then duly noted. But I always I appreciate that, and I'd asked the individual if she watches this video if she could let me know the seed that she was using because I'm very curious. I think the community and also myself would love to. I mean, I'm stringing this just a little bit lower than this one um, because I don't want it to be on top so that they can grow. Okay, just so that you know, I just slid this down just a smidge. I need room on the bottom to clean and to get water into the tower or adjust lights. So there we go. Okay, so that's kind of the front where we are with this one. And I've got a good sized cucumber here, this big boy. So until I harvest that, I think I'm just going to leave that one alone. And these guys down here, I'll bring you guys down. Right here. I've got a good sized cucumber, so I'm going to leave that one alone. I don't want to break anything. And these guys they're just a little bit small. So I'm going to leave them alone. The big thing is these guys is just getting them up and getting them to trellis in this direction. So that's been the work. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the other side. Here we go. Okay. So what do we got going on this side? Just adjust this so you guys can see. So the very first there we go. The tops. Can you see me? Yes. All right. I'm going to move this light. Oh my God, it's blinding. I've got one right here that I put in that didn't need anything. This came out of this top net port right here. And we've got a good sized cucumber. And again, please stay to the end because I'm going to turn the camera. We're going to go through it so you can see all of the really lovely, beautiful fruit. And so when I started this morning, just to make sure that this was going to work, I did this one already. So I pulled one of these vines, and this is the one that I've been playing with every day, going, "Is it ready?" And it was. So I was able to go ahead and tie it, although I didn't string it. I just kind of put it here, but it was long enough to do that. And then we got another one down here. So what do we got going on here? So that's going to go that way. And let me just see what we got on this net pot. Got some little guys. But again, these little guys have got to get off of each other because it's getting too crowded. So again, I think I'm going to string some of these. And then that way we've got, they can trellis out. All right, so let's start from the top and then we'll work. So let me just see what's going on here first. Okay. All right, so I'm going to work with this guy back here first because this is here, and then we can go back in this direction. So string. It's going to be so pretty when it's done. It's going to be so amazing. I mean, it already looks like a piece of art. I can't wait. All right, so let me go back here. Let me see what we got here. Okay, this one is a nice thick vine to it, so I feel pretty comfortable, but I'm still gonna, I like that method of just kind of coming from the middle and just giving a little bit of a knot, gently tying. And that was weird. I had one up in this little net pot right here for no reason at all. It came down, was it yesterday? Completely wilted, like just like, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened? And I tried to revive it a little bit by picking off some stuff, but I don't know. Like I hadn't adjusted anything. The pH, everything was on point. It just decided that it didn't want to hang out. It was unhappy for some strange reason, and I let it go overnight. And it just didn't want to come back. So I'm going to go ahead, stretch this guy out, give it a little whirl. I'm going to come on this side. I'm going to just give it a little bit of a hang so it's not too much. But yeah, so I just, it didn't make it. So I just said, okay, and pulled it out this morning. And I'm going to be working on a video, as if you follow the podcast, about companion plants, because it is summertime here and it gets a little humid here in the marine environment of Newport. This one looks really good. I'm just going to kind of leave it alone. I don't think it needs to be. A lot of little cucumbers. Seems pretty happy back here about doing some companion in here. So I have a teeny tiny black fly. I don't think it's not aphids. It's not anything weird, but I think it's just kind of coming through the windows. We've got a lot of landscaping happening in our backyard. We're putting in a pool, and there's not a lot of grass. It's a lot of dirt. So I have a feeling it has something to do with that. But we're going to go ahead and fix that by doing some companion stuff. So be sure to stay tuned for that video. Hopefully I'm going to get to it today, if not tomorrow. All right, so we got that one strung up. So what do we got going on here that I can try to bring some airflow to? That guy is just really too little. So who knew, even on the inside, that you can get a little bit of, okay, there we go. Ooh, we got some good fruit there. Let's go ahead and do this guy, because I think this one's going to get heavy. Who knew you could get some critters on the inside? But I don't want to use pesticides. I don't want to use herbicides. I don't even want to use the oil, that neem oil, because I don't think it's aphids. I think it's just some little teeny little fly. Now remember, I have watermelon over here, so maybe it's a fruit fly. That's what it looks like. Okay, where'd you go? There you go. But by doing some companion stuff, I think that will be, it'll be fine. It's not eating anything. It's just more of a nuisance. And they're going upstairs. Like, why? I don't have any houseplants upstairs. But they like to breathe. You exhale carbon monoxide, and that's where you see them, kind of like when you're at the table. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just give this a little bit of a wrap. Oh, so sticky. So sticky. All right, so we're going to come out. I think right there should be good. So if you guys know what that little fly could be, let me know. But I thought about doing my Bronner's peppermint soap mixture. That usually works with, those darn bugs you get in the summer. If you caught my podcast, I talked about them. Stink bugs. That's what they were. Ooh. All right, so a little bit of hang there. I've got a good sized cucumber here. So what can I string on this? No, that's going to be too heavy. It's going to need its own. They're going. Got a little baby one back here. That's okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and do this big one. This is the next one, and I'm going to string this one down here a little bit, I think. Go to this guy. So As I'm looking into pretty much every vine, I'm finding that I've got at least 1 to 2 small pollinated cucumbers, which is really great to see. I'm really pleased with that. I've been doing some pollinating, but I've had the fan on this too. So here in the Northeast, I don't know where you guys are, but here in the Northeast, the joke is this is now the 13th Saturday that it's rained. It's not pouring, but it's not, sunny. And we had Friday the 13th yesterday. So people are kind of poking some fun at that. So I'm going to wind this through a little bit. And then I'm going to support it. And I think I'm going to I think I'm going to bring it down. I think if I bring it here, I mean, I guess I could, but then as they grow, no, I think I'm going to bring it down one. I'm going to go under because if this one grows this way, this one will come this way and there'll be enough room in between to grow. I think I used too much string on this one. That's okay. I got a whole spool. I feel like I'm macrameing. Oh my God. It brings me back a little bit. If my mom is watching, she is the absolute best craft person in the world. She's an artist, and the macrame that she used to make when I was a kid, like these beautiful planners. Oh my gosh. And now she's into quilting. And I keep saying, you need to sell them. They're like artwork, they're like pieces of art. And she's like, oh, stop. Okay, so we got another one, another big one. Here's another one that I've been playing with. So again, I think I'm gonna just I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go, yeah, I'm gonna go down. Okay, let's get some string. This one's pretty long. They, surprisingly, really grew fast. I was pretty surprised that every time I'd stretch them out, which I was trying not to play with them too much. And I'll be sure to update everybody in the different forms. But I'm excited to get my cucumbers back because I've got one that's ready. Oddly shaped, but it's ready. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this. And then I'm going to give it a support and then pull this here and then just give it a little wrap. Oh, oops. Might just give it a little bit of a hang. I really don't like it there. I don't know why I don't, but I don't. I want it to go this way. Maybe I could cross section. Let's try up here. I just don't like it down there that low. I think that would be okay. Looks weird. It's a big vine. Maybe if I move this guy over. So these in-between bars on the trellis are about 4 inches. So maybe if I scooch him over, I can then go, yes, that's the right. There we go. I just don't want it too low. And I'll put him on this side. So there's a little bit of room in between, maybe like 3 inches. Again, I need to be able to get water and, get in here and clean around the tower. So now I just need to see what do we got going on here. I think I can kind of leave these down. And then this seems just a little bit full. Maybe I need to bring him up. So why don't we do that? Kind of in between. I feel like this guy needs to get adjusted. Maybe I'm going to adjust him. This is the very first one I did before coming on to the there we go. Doing this video. I just feel like he needs to come down just a little bit. I can tie him on to this hook like I did over there, and then I could take that one and go there. There we go. I just want to make one more so not, because ooh, with the fruit, it's going to get heavy. So where do we go? Where do we go? This guy. All right. So we can string him there now. Not very big, but he will be. He'll trellis right up there. So let's go mid-vine. So you guys can see me still. There I go. Under that leaf. That's perfect. Double knot. And then it's not heavy, so it's just easier to kind of bring up a little bit. And then not too taut. Go. Bring that one to the back. Okay, that looks good. A little bit tight. There we go. Little pull. And then maybe what I can do is, what do we got going on down here? There's more in here. I can just feel it. They need to. That's on that one. And then that one's, no, I guess they're really kind of all just, that's good. That's good. Let me just stand back for a quick second. Looks like a spider web. Oh my God, the amount of flowers that are on the floor, it's crazy. Now I'm gonna wait on those. I just don't think that they're strong enough. I mean, I could string that one, but I just would love to have those just be just a little bit longer. Grow just a little bit more. Ouch. I whacked my head on the damn wands. Those are all up. That one actually on the bottom will grow better now. Okay. Actually, I'm okay with this. So I'm going to go ahead and clip some tails. Again, I'm going to leave like 3 to 4 inches in case I need to move or adjust. I hate to do all that work and then have it be too short. So what I want to do now is I want to spin the camera around. So let's go ahead and take a tour. All right, let's do that. All righty. So as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 7 strings on my right. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 naturally hanging. So as you can see, there are a lot of vines that got strung up, but how cool is that? Now look at the floor. It's so dirty, right? We'll clean that up. But let's go ahead and get up nice and close so you can actually see. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top. And if you're all wondering what's going on up here, that's my celery. And it's kind of coming in, you know, really nice here. And then I've got that older piece that we took care of. This one right here is strung up by one of those white clips. So I'm going to leave that till it gets a little bit longer, and then I'll go ahead and stretch that. But we'll start at the top. So as you can see, right here, we got some fruit. Right here, there's fruit right there. Um, on the inside, I want to grab it by the tip of the leaf. There's two here that are pollinated. This one over here is pollinated. And right up in there, I got to get up there in a little bit to pollinate. There's a bunch of little ones that need to be self-pollinated. So I'm going to bring this down just a little bit to the next tier. And beautiful little section there. I don't have anything that's pollinated. Well, I do. That one looks maybe, let me just see the end. Yep, right there, it's pollinated. You can tell um, when they're pollinated. The very end will turn kind of a shiny green, and that's how you know it's going to start to grow a little bit. And then more that kind of comes out here. And then, so when I was winding the thread, the knot is, I don't know if you can see my finger, is right here. And then I just took it and I wound it, and it's not too tight. And then I'll encourage this to just grow this way. And then as I come down each day, I'll just go ahead and keep winding it until it reaches. And then we'll get down here in the front. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit right there. So this is the one that I have. It's pretty much ready. I can pull this off anytime, but I'll leave it for a day or two, just to make sure everything is well adjusted. And then I've got some little guys down here, but I'll wait. These are too little. This one could go because it really is kind of thick and mature, but I like to just kind of do a few things at once, and then do a little bit more. Less is more. What's that saying? So let's go ahead and bring you guys back up. We'll start from the top. And right here, got a good size, cucumber right there. And then, so yeah, there's a couple that I need to pollinate over here. On this vine, that needs to be pollinated, but here's a piece of fruit. In here, I do have a little concern right here. This is a little congested, but again, as these guys, I think, get just a little bit longer, I'll be able to separate them, but this is just too thick. This is problematic. And what I mean by that is that, it just needs airflow. So I could try to, it's just not long enough. And I don't want to risk breaking any leaves or any vines, but it needs to be separated. Hopefully soon it will grow. And bring you down right here. So we got some fruit right there. And then on the very last tier down here, we've got some fruit right there. So they're around. They're around. There's one right there. You guys can see that. So it's time. It was time to do this, but I just didn't have the mechanics. So, and then I was like, I just need to do something. This is crazy. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's adjust the lights and see how this looks, because this is the most important. And I'm going to kind of tilt it out a little bit. I mean, it's flat. Just make sure you guys can see that. Okay, yeah. So this area right here is, it's flat. So I feel pretty good about the wands and getting the light, and I'll adjust the back ones. Just tilting them out a little bit. I'm going to go around. And then just bring it in a little bit closer and just, I mean, I honestly can say until we get out into here, I'm really not going to have to use those spider lights. I don't think, because they really are getting all those leaves now that they're separated. They're probably getting more light than they were stacked on top of each other. So I'm not really going to be too concerned with that. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today and helping me string up these vines on the trellis. I'm so excited to bring this to you. It's been, like I said, about 2 weeks since we got the trellis set up. and kind of put it where we needed to and let the vines grow a little bit. But they're there. They still got a little room to go before they get there because this thing is so massive. But with this technique of using this garden twine, made it a lot easier. So if you're looking to take your tower, maybe it's outside, maybe it's inside, and put some apparatuses on either side and want to move it out to make it kind of like what I did, or maybe you have a trellis similar, use this technique and just remember to do the middle of the vine, string it through, and then tie it. And don't give it too much. Don't make it too tight. That would be my own advice. Here I think I did a couple that were too tight, and then I adjusted them. So you don't want it to pull, and then let it encourage it to grow onto the string and then onto the trellis. And before you know it, you're going to have lots and lots of cucumbers. So we'll see you very soon. And be sure to catch that video on the companion flowers, especially for growing indoors. So thanks again for joining. We'll see you soon.